Hi, this is Sue Berk. Welcome to my podcast. It's January and winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Right now, I'm experiencing dry, itchy winter skin. I needed a top 10 winter skincare tips list. I decided to investigate and share my winter skincare tips with you. Cold temperatures cause issues for your skin. Why? Because the air is drier. Why is the air drier in winter? It has to do with the properties not of air but of water. Think of boiling or high temperature water. Lots of the water molecules escape from liquid to gas form or into the air. In contrast, cold water stays a liquid. The molecules aren't moving as quickly and don't escape into the air. Now we know that air is an innocent victim too. And why we have cracked hands, feet, and faces because the air is drier. What can we do about our suffering skin? We could all just move to Mexico or the Caribbean. But if you're like Louie, you love winter and you want to stay put. So let's look at those top 10 winter skincare tips. We were just talking about humidity in the air and how it's much lower in the winter. So let's hook up a humidifier. That's tip number 1. Humidifiers will add water vapor to the air. Hydrate for your health. Number 2. Okay, guess what? Drinking water does not hydrate your skin unless you're severely dehydrated. So technically this is not a winter skincare tip, but I wanted to let you know that this is a myth and share it with you. You can ban super hot baths and showers. The intense heat of a hot shower or bath breaks down the lipid barriers in the skin, which can lead to a loss of moisture. I do have an article on my website that discusses this if you'd like to look and click on the link. And if you exfoliate, you should cut back. And avoid using harsh peels, masks, and alcohol-based toners or astringents in the winter. Ditch the clay masks, which draw moisture from your face. Find a cleansing milk or mild foaming cleanser, a toner with no alcohol, and masks that say they're deeply hydrating. Try exfoliating once a week. Number 5 seems obvious. Don't go outside with wet skin. It's because wet skin chaps more easily. In the same vein, wet socks and gloves can irritate your skin and cause itching and cracking. So be sure, after your fun time skiing or snowboarding or going down the sledding hill, to make sure that everything's dry before you go back for another round. Grease up your feet and lips. That sounds a little gross, but try to find products that contain petroleum jelly or glycerin. Petroleum jelly, glycerin? What difference does any of that make? Well, a lot. And if you're like me, you spend time looking at ingredients on the backs of moisturizer packages. And what the heck are all those things? And what about emollients, occlusives, and humectants? Well, I could write an entire post about this, but I'll try to break it down quickly. What is a moisturizer, first of all? Moisturizer is a catch-all term created by marketers. It is not a scientific term, but used to imply a cream to increase skin moisture. I have an article link on my website that talks about moisturizers. Basically, there are 3 different kinds of moisturizers: emollients, occlusives, and humectants. And what the heck is the difference? Emollients are a substance that fill in the spaces between dead skin cells, thus creating a smooth surface. It sounds kind of gross, but nearly everyone can benefit from emollient. Emollients are physiological lipids like ceramimides, and I did a deep dive looking into ceramimides and niacinamide, but I'm not going to go there in the interest of keeping this podcast and my posts a little more manageable. Occlusives are the best for skin protection from harsh weather. The reason is, occlusives don't penetrate the skin, but they stay on top, forming a film that prevents water loss. They create a water impermeable barrier over the skin surface, creating an environment conducive to barrier repair. And I do have an article on my website that talks more about the mechanism of action of occlusives. Petroleum jelly, mineral oil, lanolin, beeswax, olive oil, and avocado oil are a few examples. Now you have to be careful with lanolin because some people do have allergic reactions to it. The difference between emollients and occlusives is not a line in the sand, and the FDA does regulate occlusive and emollient ingredients under cosmetic rules because they are commonly found in personal care products. When you're reading package ingredients, you'll probably notice that a product may have both emollients and occlusives, and it has to do with an emphasis on what the product's function is. So, this brings me to number 7 of my top 10 winter skincare tips, which is seek a specialist. If you go to your local drugstore, you'll be hard-pressed to find a salesperson who can give you good advice. But an esthetician or dermatologist can analyze your specific skin type, troubleshoot your skincare regimen, and give you advice on skincare products you should be using to keep your winter skin healthy. I do have a website link on my website that reviews the safety of different ingredients if you want to dig in further. So let's go back to the third definition in our moisturizer trifecta, humectants. Humectants are really interesting. They are hydrators. They bind chemically to water. Technically, a humectant is a hygroscopic substance that has a molecular structure with several hydrophilic, which is water-loving groups. And these groups bond with water, essentially grabbing it and holding it onto the skin. Here's a fun fact. Humectants can draw water vapor from the air to help moisturize the skin if the humidity in the air is over 50%. Of course, this isn't going to happen in winter, but it's a cool fact just the same. Examples of humectants include hyaluronic acid, urea, alpha hydroxy acids, and aloe vera. My kids go through boatfuls of aloe vera in the summer, but why not use it in the winter too? You can hear that I'm sliding sideways a bit, okay, a lot, from my top 10 winter skincare tips into straight skincare tips. But hyaluronic acid is important, and the science behind it is cool. Hyaluronic acid is present in almost all biological fluids and tissues. It's an extremely large molecule with a high capacity for hydration. It's important for the structural support of collagen and elastin in the skin. It has a lot of medical applications too, but I'll hold back. Due to the size of HA, hyaluronic acid, it has poor folding of its molecular structure. And because of its hydrophilic or water-loving properties, it potentially creates a large watery space within itself. The proportion of water associated with its structure can be 1,000 times greater than its own molecular weight. It's a dynamic molecule and needs replenishing very often, which brings me to number 8, moisturize more in winter. If you're having a lot of problem with dryness, you should try to find an ointment moisturizer for the winter. As you know, an occlusive will create that protective layer on your skin and retain more moisture. However, not all oils are appropriate for your face, so look for a non-clogging or comedogenic oil. And don't forget to slather on the sunscreen. Winter sun combined with snow glare can still damage your skin. And lastly, help out your hands. Wear gloves. The skin on your hands is thinner than on most parts of your body and has fewer oil glands. And that means it's harder to keep your hands moist, especially in cold, dry weather. So grab a pair of gloves. And there we go. We got to 10 skincare tips for winter. I'm happy to break down the specific ingredients in humectants, emollients, and occlusives in another podcast. Let me know if you're interested, and I'll be happy to dive in and write and record one. And if winter is dragging for you, I've got a great post on 23 ways to be happier.
Thanks for listening to my podcast. Please take a look at my website, www.susanberkkoch.com, for the article links, fun photos, and a lot more information. Take care of your skin and stay safe and dry.